Greetings from Bharat Ardave. I am talking on behalf of Dr. Ajoy Shetty, who is not able to attend the meeting today. My topic is dorsal myelopathy surgical approaches. Dorsal myelopathy can be seen in various conditions. As this case, one can see the ligamentum flavum calcification. We call this as OLF, ossification of ligamentum flavum. Could be because of the prolapsed disc commonly seen at the lower dorsal area. Could be because of the infection, which is quite common seen in our part of the world, that is because of the tuberculosis. Could be because of the metastases, secondaries, or even primary tumors as well. And could be because of the fractured spine, dorsal myelopathy. But the most important thing is the clinico-radiological correlation, and that has to be achieved by proper assessment before planning the surgery. And for that, most important is we have to ask about the bladder valve involvement and have to have the grading of the neurology. X-ray are must because these are the junctional problems and where we really need to count the vertebral level, and that is why DL and LS junction has to be included in the X-ray. And most of the time, in order to rule out the tandem stenosis, we usually have the full length MRI, and CT scan is an added tool in order to see the calcification. Eventually, we confirm the diagnosis and have the clinico-radiological correlation and treat this pathology. Also, we should be assessing the outcome, neurodeficit, how much it's going to improve, and we have to stress about the post-op rehabilitation. And the most important will be the social support. If the poor social support, then the overall outcome is really bad. So management strategies, well, it's a surgical disease. Myelopathy, particularly the dorsal spine, it's a surgical disease. Can we treat with the Solu-Medrol? Well, most of the time we do see patients being treated with steroids, but it does give temporary relief. But at the end, the compression has to be relieved. Coming to the case discussion, 65-year male who had back pain since 10 years, but there was recent worsening of the activity of daily living and had upper motor neuron lesion with hyperreflexia and plantars upgoing, but bladder bowel were normal. But his cardiac function was only 30% ejection fraction. These were his MRI. One can see the lesion in the lower dorsal compression as well as the disc prolapse as well. You can see that symptomatic level was operated because the cardiac function was only 30%, although patient had lumbar stenosis, which was predominantly not symptomatic as patient had recent onset of the symptom and activity of daily living. These 10 years of the back pain which he had in the history was because of the lumbar degeneration. Another case, 49-year-old lady, both thigh pain, 2 years, tingling numbness, both lower limb. She was non-walker, 1.5 years, and spasticity in both the lower limb. Her neurology was power grade 3/5 with hyperreflexia and plantars upgoing. X-ray reveals density of the bone that has increased, and one can see calcification of ligamentum flavum, which is predominantly compressing the posterior cord. She was operated by en bloc removal of the lamina at the compression level. One can see adequate decompression in the MRI. Usually we have the postoperative MRI done at our center. This patient had adherent dura with the ligamentum flavum and there was adequate decompression seen. Another case, 45-year female, spastic paraparesis since 6 months. It was nearing grade 4 and bladder bowel affected. One can see the tandem stenosis in the dorsal and lumbar spine, but she was young, 45, and she also had surgery done for the dorsal and the lumbar spine, and one can see the postoperative MRI and X-ray done and adequate decompression seen. The key point here for these surgeries are laminectomy, bone scalpel. Dural injury can happen because of the flavum adherent to the dura. Particularly we see in our cases, in our part of the world, fluorosis is quite common and we always go for the post-op MRI in order to make sure that we have done the adequate decompression. Another Case presentation: 21-year male, had both lower limb weakness, tingling numbness since 4 months, and he was able to walk with the 2% support due to power grade 2-3 in both the lower limb and spastic gait. One can see again the decrease in the disc space at D10, D11, D11, D12 as well. These are the X-rays, reveals bone density increased as well. One can see the dorsal disc prolapse at D10, D11, more on the right side. This patient had lateral extracavitary approach. We often sacrifice the nerve root in order to have the proper access without retracting the dural sac. We are able to remove the disc, and we have fixed that because we usually remove the pars and we put the cage, we push the fragment into the disc space so that there is no manipulation of the cord. And this is confirmed by the MRI post-operative. One can see, and the CT scan as well, one can see very well decompressed dural sac. Similar case in 2011, patient had symptoms acute onset 2 months, both lower limb tingling numbness, significant imbalance, and bladder bowel, they were normal. His range of movements, they were free, and he had upper motor neuron lesion with clonus on the left side. He also had D10, D11 dorsal disc. These appear to be the soft disc, and this patient had immediate post-operative. When we reviewed, he had neurological worsening. So we had sent this patient for MRI, and one can see that immediate post-op we had missed the level of this patient, and there was worsening due to the same. So we ended up operating him again on the second day, and this was redo surgery done at the lower level. So the key point: patient can be operated dorsal disc, probably maybe endoscopically transthoracic, but our approach is through the pars removal and do the discectomy and put the screws. Collapsed disc has to be identified. Whenever there is post-op worsening, consider that one may have missed the level. We never distract when we do this type of disc surgery. When there is anterior compression, the neurological deficit is likely, and we operate all these cases in the neuromonitoring. So the management strategy for dorsal stenosis is only laminectomy is contraindicated in anterior compression whenever there is kyphosis. Only laminectomy is indicated when there is posterior stenosis due to ligamentum flavum compression or ossification. Anterior decompression through posterior approach can be achieved through the LICA approach, and we have had one publication in Global Spine mentioning the same with successful outcome in 18 patients. Only one patient had neurological worsening, which I shown earlier. Posterior laminectomy is really helpful with the scalpel. Bone scalpel is one of the tools which has changed our practice, because we have chlorotic patients and sometimes we end up decompressing from C1 to L2, maybe up to L4. So the whole spine we are able to decompress with two team using two bone scalpel and two consoles. Tandem stenosis has to be ruled out whenever we operate these cases in order not to miss the level either cranial or caudal. Thank you for your patience hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. I'm sure most of us, any questions from the audience here? None. As we're getting late, I think we will go on to the next topic. And if there are any questions coming up on the chat box, kindly have a look and we can discuss later if you have time. We will move on to the next topic: indications, techniques, tips and tricks for thoracoscopic spine surgery in trauma cases by Marcus Aran.
So, folks, can you hear me already?
Yeah, we can hear you.